Hello, I'm Dave and this is Logan, out once again for a walk in the countryside. Thanks for joining us. Now today we're at the pretty village of Didling in West Sussex. It's about 9 or 10 miles to the southeast of Petersfield by car in the South Downs National Park. And we're going to be doing a roughly 5-mile circular route up and over the South Downs and back. We'll be seeing an Iron Age hill fort, a pretty little church, the remains of 2 others, the Devil's Jumps and the 2 hamlets of Treyford and Didling. Now I'm filming on a glorious sunny morning at the end of May. There's some blue sky, a little bit of cloud, but it should be perfect conditions for walking, so do come along with us. And it's a special walk for us. It's our 150th video walk on the channel. So we're going to start off at Didling by having a look at this beautiful little church that's just behind me here. And isn't it delightful? The Church of St Andrews, also known as the Shepherd's Church. It's early 13th century, although likely to have been an earlier Saxon building here beforehand. There's a nave and chancel, although there's no division between the two, a wooden porch, a west turret. The west and east walls were rebuilt in the 1870s after the church had been closed for nearly 24 years. The original windows were reused and there's a single bell. Well, right next to the church is this magnificent yew tree and it's got a bit of a story attached to it. If I just come up to it, I'll see there's some very pretty yellow fungi coming out. But if you look down at the bottom, you'll see that there's a cut made in it. And apparently back in 1945, someone misunderstood some instructions to cut a branch off the tree, and they actually started to cut the entire tree down by mistake. Luckily somebody spotted it and got up here just in time to stop the felling. Well, just before we have a quick look inside, just to the right of me here on the ground there's a gravestone, and I was reading that it's a Knights Templar stone that dates from the 12th or 13th century. It's got sloping sides and a ridged top with decorations, which is apparently quite common with these types of grave or grave markers. Okay folks, in we go. Now, I know there's no electricity, so I'm expecting it to be quite dark. I believe that font is one of the oldest in West Sussex. I'm just looking to the right, there's the vestry. And some of these pews are terrific. I was reading that the actual pew ends are 15th century, that the seats are a little bit more modern, but look at that, they are so well worn over the years. And I guess those little things on top must be for candles. Lovely. And then just heading towards the altar. I believe the altar and the pulpit are 17th century. What a delightful little church. Well, we'll see a little bit more of Didling itself right at the end of the walk on the homeward leg. We're now going to kick off into the countryside by heading south up the South Downs for our first ascent of the day. Now we're going to walk through a field of sheep, so Logan's got to stay on the lead at the moment. Well, a little pit stop at the foot of the downs before it gets a little bit steeper, just to look back north at this quite exquisite view. Isn't that beautiful? I think that's Blackdown Hill in the far distance. I'm not 100% sure. And then this is Didling down below, and the church is just behind those trees there. And then this is looking a little bit further over to the west, and eventually when we come back via Treyford we'll be coming across the bottom of the valley. Now, I should point out that through the entire video I call the village Treyford. In fact, locals pronounce it Treyford. I should know better, having been brought up not that far away from here. Whew. We've made it to the top. It wasn't too bad. The first bit was the steepest bit up a path, and then it became a track which we went up at a gentle pace. So we're now going to meet up with an old friend of ours, the South Downs Way. We've met it a few times on walks in the past. Of course, the whole route is 100 miles long from Winchester in the west to Eastbourne in the east. So we're at the top of I think it's called Didling Hill. So we're now going to start heading westwards, and if I slowly turn the camera around, show you where we're going, towards Monkton Wood. We'll continue to make our way along the South Downs Way through the top end of Monkton Wood, through a lovely little shaded area. Now, just to my right is Monkton House, but you can't really see it. It's private and well hidden. But seeing as I've done a lot of research about it, let me tell you all about it. It was built in 1902, designed by Sir Edwin Lutyens for the owners of the Westdean estate, the James family, and it was originally a 5-bedroom lodge. Now in the 1930s, Edward James transformed it as a retreat from the main Edwardian manor at Westdean. It was redecorated in a style mainly influenced by Salvador Dali, the Spanish surrealist artist. Indeed, it was the eccentric and wealthy James who helped make Dali famous. I think he painted it purple, but the Edward James Foundation sold it in the mid-1980s. Well, I think I've said this on so many walks that I've done recently. It's been a great spring for bluebells. There's still some here just hanging on in there with the colour there, catching the light. I'll tell you, it's so peaceful going through these woods. All I can hear are my footsteps and birds twittering away. Logan very much on squirrel patrol, keeping them in order. Well, this is our next destination. Now these are the Devil's Jumps, not to be confused with the Devil's Humps at Kingley Vale, about 7 miles to the south. And basically it's a Bronze Age barrow formation. There are 5 large bell barrows. There are traces of a 6th, between 3,000 to 4,000 years old, and they are aligned with the setting of the sun on Midsummer Day, although I wonder if the trees might get in the way now. and the sizes vary from 26 metres to 34 metres in diameter and up to 5 metres high. Let's go and have a wander. Well, we certainly had some fun on the devil's jumps there. So it's just starting to cloud over a bit. Fingers crossed that we're going to stay dry. So as far as the route's concerned, this is as far south as we're going to go, and we're now going to still continuing along the South Downs way, but heading in a sort of north-westerly direction through the top end of Philliswood Down. If you wanted to add another 1.5 mile loop, you could carry on further south to Hook's Way. There's a nice pub down there, the Royal Oak, although it is haunted. Well folks, just stopped for a little view. This is looking to the west. This is very much your typical Sussex downland scene. The crops coming on now. Little farm in the valley. And then this is just where we've come from. We've come down through those woods along the track, following the South Downs way. Another view to take on board. So this is looking north, and just behind those trees in the valley there's Treyford, which is where we'll be heading for shortly. But the views from up here, just stunning, they really are. Well, it's now time to say goodbye to the South Downs way. We're now going to drop down to Treyford. If you wanted to, you'd carry on just a little bit and you could get to Beacon Hill, which is an Iron Age hill fort, also known as Harting Hill. There was a late Bronze Age hill fort there, and then defences were later renewed during the Iron Age, and covers about 10 hectares. I think there's a rectangular shape to it, and there's a single rampart and a flat bottomed ditch. You know, sometimes I wonder if it's easier going uphill than downhill. Certainly my knees think it's easier uphill. So we've got, I think it's Elsted Hanger on my right, and so we're just about to come off the downs and hit a flat bit, hopefully. But if I show you how steep this is. So this is I think it's a restricted byway we're on here, and it looks as though it's been recently sort of renovated and cleared. But I think Logan's coping better than I am. Well, we're now coming to the pretty little village of Treyford. A beautiful flint house there, Brook House. What's that? 1774 on the front there. Quite beautiful. And this is the back of the Treyford Manor House, which dates from the 17th century. Built by the Alwyn family, who were lords of the manor between 1571 right the way up to 1766. But what we want to look out for, yes, just up on the bank there you can see what looks like some ruins of a building, and hopefully there's a little path just at the top of this road so we can investigate further. And yes, here we go. There's no actual sign to say that this is here, but here it is. These are indeed the remains of the Church of St Mary's, built on a mound. Parts date to the 11th century, and the nave and chancel was built in the 12th century, and then the chancel was extended and rebuilt in the 13th century. A chapel was added in the 14th or 15th century, and repairs made in the 18th century. But by the mid 1800s it was in such a poor state of repair, and so it was closed in 1849, and a new church built further down the road. We'll have a look at that site shortly. Well, just a few hundred yards further west from where St Mary's was is this little churchyard, and this is the location of where St Peter's was, the new church that was built in 1849, and apparently it was quite splendid. It was known as the Cathedral on the Downs, and it had a spire that was 120 foot tall, but sadly it weathered very badly, and by 1888 the roof and aisles needed repairs. It continued to deteriorate and was eventually demolished in the early 1950s. Indeed, I was reading that they had to use explosives to blow up the tower. So all that remains of the church is the churchyard, and well, you can also make out where the church originally was. And presumably, yes, this little area here. And there are some cottages adjacent to the site, and they were built to house the workers when the church was originally built. But so there's no church here anymore, but I believe burials still take place here. What a lovely, peaceful setting. Well, we're now on the homeward leg. We've left Treyford and heading back towards Didling, going along a quite enchanting little footpath through some woods. In fact, just by me here, quite delightful little stream. Isn't that pretty? Coming off the South Downs, and I'm guessing it flows eventually to the River Rother. And a few bluebells still. What a beautiful scene. We're now back at Didling. It's not very big. I think there's only about 12 on the electoral roll, and are some lovely houses, that's for sure. Beautiful house here, just on the left, flint. Isn't that lovely? And then just in the distance, nestling beneath the South Downs, is the Didling Church, which is where we started the walk. What a lovely walk it's been today as well. Well folks, we've come to the end of our walk. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please do give us a thumbs up and a like, and do leave a comment, and do check out our Facebook page, Dave's Countryside Walks. We thought we'd do the end scene here up on top of one of the Devil's Jumps on top of the South Downs. We're off back to Elstead for a pint. So until we meet again, thanks for watching and cheerio. Good boy.